Okay.
Kit, where are you right now?
Okay, I think we're good. People are saying we're good.
Everyone, thank you for beta testing this product. Now I hope you buy the alpha build when it comes out.
Okay, great, fantastic. So there's so much I want to say. First, Daniel, Paul, Kira, you guys have been doing a fantastic job running the show, maintaining it. You guys are an outstanding team. I'm so proud to have known you guys for so long. We have built this channel up, but also here's to the real people who really helped us out and actually achieve our dream as we slowly get closer and closer to actually making this channel much more viable. And that's you guys, our viewers and subscribers, to our Patreon supporters. Without any of you, none of this would be possible. And we started this thing in 2017, myself and Daniel, with the idea of creating independent media, real journalism, to cover the stories that corporate media will not cover. And it's been a humbling journey, and I just can't thank you guys enough because you believe in us, and our main goal is to do the correct amount of journalism so that you guys as citizens are informed to take responsibility and actually bring in much needed political reform.
So I want to ask this, and it's half joking, but it's also really serious. Can you introduce yourself to the audience? Because since you've been gone, there's probably about 10 or 15% of people watching this who are like, who the hell's this guy?
Okay, so for those of you who may not know who I am.
It's such a crazy thing.
Strange world we're living in. Check out some of our older content after the show because I'm in the majority of it. Yeah, like maybe a month before December and all that other stuff. I'm the main host of Hard Lens Media. My name is Kit Cabello. I started Hard Lens Media with Daniel in 2017. Just to be clear, Daniel's the CEO. I'm a co-founder of Hard Lens Media. I've been the main host for a very long time. We were on 2 radio stations, public access television. So all the brand new people who have joined Hard Lens Media, all the brand new Patreon supporters who joined Hard Lens Media, I'm the main host, and Kira's sitting in my captain's chair. And Kira, you're doing a fantastic job. I love you for it.
I want to give a shout out real quick.
Love you too.
Lowdown OG, thank you for the $25 super chat.
If you have a message, we'll read it for you.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, because I've got a lot to talk about.
So tell us, what's Japan been like? We've been like, Kit's on vacation. We don't want to bother him and have him he's wanted to go for a while. Let him do his vacation. We'll run things here. How the hell's Japan been?
Japan is an incredible country, way different than the United States. But you can see the presence of the United States, of course, because we are a global superpower. But to be very clear, this country is extremely organized in regards to its infrastructure, towards public transportation, and just really in how the people are generally towards each other. It's way different than the United States. When you travel abroad, just be prepared to enter a whole new world that will not conform to what you're used to. And Japan is, it's awe-inspiring. Going to the shrines, going to the temples, going to different cities. I've been in Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima, each one much more remarkable than the last. And it's really great. And what's really funny is sometimes when the little kids, the little babies are looking at you, like they really stare you down. They're like, who is this person? How come you don't look like me? And it's like you read the quote unquote body language, at least that's what CNN wants us to think. And it's really nice. And plus people come up to you and try and talk to you in English because they're trying to learn English. I mean, these kids, they're learning like 4 different alphabets at an early age. And it's like, what the heck? Like really? Wow, why? And it's beautiful. And even going onto the bullet train itself, you're going at 200 miles per hour or 200, 300 miles per hour. You're just traveling all over Japan. It's really awe-inspiring. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so we have a super chat from Tyler Sutton who wants to know, $2 super chat, thank you very much. Is it true that Godzilla endorses Bernie?
Okay, Daniel, you're going to get upset with me, but to all our Patreon supporters, if you haven't seen my vlog, I actually saw the tribute to Godzilla, and I actually had an exclusive one-on-one interview with the King of the Monsters, but because of lack of audio, and I hear the fire engine in the background, I have missed that. Because of the lack of audio and video, I couldn't get that exclusive interview down, but guess what? The King of the Monsters is all for Bernie. He's saying it's about time. This political revolution needs to happen. He's just not this monster of mayhem and destruction. He actually has a big heart.
Well, I heard that's why he was marching out on the street in the first place. Is really just pissed off about the billionaires and corporations.
It's just everyone doesn't realize just when Godzilla riots, just the scale's a little bit bigger. But he's just been wanting Bernie Sanders.
I mean, he's trying to be peaceful, but his feet are so big.
Isn't he a symbol of of human hubris? Right.
Yes. So Godzilla's saying, "Hey, listen, just like what Bernie Sanders told the editorial staff of the New York Times, who, mind you, I read their body language, and they looked pretty afraid because Amy Klobuchar was in the next room threatening to throw a stapler at them. They were trying to hit Bernie, help us, but he's tired of the BS. So is Godzilla. You know what? Here's what's really interesting about Tokyo. And looking at that city, I love Chicago, but Tokyo is a metropolitan city to a scale which I've never seen before. Daniel, you were with me in Philly, going to New York City, going to Washington, D.C., and even being in L.A. for some time. This city puts us to shame. It's like divided into different subsections, and each ward, each section of Tokyo is diverse and incredible. In fact, where I saw the tribute to Godzilla is in the Shinjuku district, and that whole area, I'm hesitant to call the red light district, but I saw some questionable shops where it's like, I better not go in there.
Wow. If you want an adventure, you probably should go in there.
That's an adventure right there.
No. But let's also look at the shrines, for example, and even the temples too. Completely organized, very beautiful. Each one has its own unique feeling towards it. But I think the one shrine that really stood out to me the most was on Miyajima Island, which is a World Heritage Site. And up there is a 5-story tall pagoda that is 600 years old. And this is near Hiroshima. This pagoda survived the blast that impacted Hiroshima. Of course, the main direct area where the bomb hit was a few. Sorry, I'm still a little overwhelmed from actually going to the museum there. And I'll get to that soon. But this whole island is a World Heritage Site. There are buildings there 800 to 600 years old. It's really incredible how all these buildings have stood the test of time and are still there. And segueing into Hiroshima, going to the Peace Park and to the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, you see the real cost of the dropping of the bomb on that city. And I know that when I posted, I asked Daniel if this would be okay to do this. I posted 2 images of my time near the Peace Park and the one placard that was in the Hiroshima Peace Museum. And, a huge toll impacted. It's very emotional and raw when you go in there. You see that the people who were hit by this bomb are not military personnel. They're not part of the Imperial military army. They're not the generals. They're not part of the imperial family. These are regular citizens. And seeing those pictures, I just couldn't help but think of people here in Chicago, over there in Chicago. I couldn't help but think of other individuals. These are just average citizens who were impacted by a device that forever changed the world. And when you see just the artifacts from that bomb, and you're reading the firsthand accounts of the families and hearing these stories from children who are horribly scarred and the human toll that it took, looking at just a week ago, there was all this concern. And of course, there were the meme jokes of World War III, but this isn't a laughing matter. These weapons of mass destruction, we have them pointed at each other. Russia has theirs pointed at us. We have our weapons pointed at them. China has their weapons pointed at us. We have their weapons pointed at them. I mean, it's madness and insanity. And we can vaporize ourselves just like that because of miscommunication or ego or pride. But we have to remember we live on the same planet. We breathe the same air. We all have the same hopes, dreams, and fears. And we owe it to the next generation to build a better and peaceful future so they can inherit the world and be better than us. And I'm going to say that again, be better than us. Because for a long time, we've been turning a blind eye to this, and we just can't risk it anymore. We have to learn from the past because, my words aren't good enough to really describe what I saw. And I'm working on a video. It's going to be about 40 minutes long for our Patreon supporters. Most of it will be silence. I'll have some few narration points here and there, but you have to see it firsthand. I think everyone should see it firsthand because these weapons that we have, they should not be allowed to exist anymore. We should dismantle him. We need to have real dialogue. All the world's leaders need to have real dialogue and take this into account, because the people must hold their governments accountable. And these weapons of war must be abolished. We have to take that away. If anything, when you go into that memorial museum, I mean, there are moments where I'm crying. In fact, I have one regret, because the emotion of walking through this museum and hearing these firsthand accounts, and then very fact at the end where they showed the statistical data of how many weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons we have, it's just like overwhelming. Like, my God, we can kill ourselves 1,000 times over, and it's not even a joke. There's a book there that you could sign in and leave a message. And regrettably, I didn't know about it. I passed it by, but it's something I think people should attend and see. And one of the things stood out. That's the story of Sadako, and she was a young girl who was dying of radiation poisoning, and the doctors, no one knew what these weapons can do. And her story is very sad but awe-inspiring. She was dying of radiation sickness, and her friend was telling her, that trying to get better, maybe if she made 1,000 cranes, paper cranes, the origami paper cranes, that she'll get better. She didn't get close to it, but she made a lot. And since then, that message of making 1,000 cranes so that we don't have to have much more of this tragedy continue on, we need to take it away. Sorry, guys. It was very emotional.
Where they take 1,000 paper cranes on a bunch of different strings, they're all strung together on a big thing.
Yes.
You saw that?
Yeah. There's a whole wall. In fact, every year, they have 1,000 paper cranes, and there's the monument to Sadako. There's the crane up there and a bell. It's really emotional. Plus, here's the thing. Yeah, we all see the hypocenter, which is the infamous dome that survived the blast radius of the bomb. Mm-hmm. Within the dome area, I actually caught it on video, there's a flower growing inside underneath the dome, and there's like a little cat just right there, right next to it. And I kind of make a remark like, life continues on. And there's even a cherry tree too that actually survived the blast and is still growing to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know it's just it's you guys have to see it. I mean, it's so emotional. And when I put the video up, because it's not going to be chronological, like all my the videos I'm working on for Patreon supporters, not going to be in chronological order. I figured the Hiroshima video should be first because of this ridiculous idea of going to war with Iran, with the Trump administration, and everything else that's happening there. We need to remember that we have to avoid war at any and all costs, because otherwise there's no recovery from it. That's my rant.
Hearing you talk about Hiroshima really, conjures up that feeling of the thought of irony of the United States always going over and saying, no, you can't have nuclear war, you can't have nuclear bomb, you can't have a nuclear bomb, but we have all of this nuclear power. And I don't know if that is necessarily addressed at that museum, but there is a lot of irony inside of our acts toward other countries and their ownership of nuclear.
Well, it is addressed because they show about how many other countries have nuclear weapons, and there is it's a clock. There's a clock with different cogs indicating how many days it's been since a nuclear test has been done, and how many days after Hiroshima, the first blast over the city, has been done. So, as it stood right now, it's been 336 days since the last nuclear weapon has been tested. 336 days, guys.
Less than a year.
Bingo, we're doing a good job.
So one of the things that in this discussion of nuclear proliferation and reflection on Hiroshima, one of the two places where an actual nuclear device was deployed in the theater of war ever, it's interesting that we have been operating since that time and through the Cold War era under this sort of the theory of mutually assured destruction, right? Well, if we all can vaporize each other, then hopefully no one will. And it's like, okay, well, there are lessons from that we hope that generations from now are not lost, right? And there's the reality that we know how physics works and we know how to make these things. So we can't kind of unring that bell. We can't make it not exist anymore. So how do you move from a strategy of mutually assured destruction, whereby those that already have nuclear warheads are allowed to keep them because of mutually assured destruction, but anyone who doesn't have them, now you guys don't get to make them. Blah, 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 blah. How do we move from that to a strategy of multilateral disarmament? Right? Hey, everyone, let's all collectively take a chill pill.
Take a chill pill. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And dismantle these things. And how do you prevent a rogue actor from being like, oh yeah, I'm dismantling all of mine, but I'm going to keep a few thousand of them? Looking at you, America. How do you prevent that?
You know,
I mean, I'm not saying I have any answers here.
Yeah.
I'll have to dismantle my nukes after this. I've been inspired.
You know, I don't think there's a real clear answer for this. What the real answer is, citizens of the world, all of us, we all live on this planet, like I said before. And if it comes to war, well, it's all vaporized. It's all done. That's the end of humanity. That's the end of everything we've achieved. And for those that survive, the survivors will envy the dead. And we're probably going to regress backwards. We're not going to get back to the state that we're at now. We can't afford that. We are better than that. What's going to need to be done is that people around the world need to step up and hold their governments accountable, and we need to have a clear, open dialogue with each other and communicate. Now, are we all going to agree with each other? No. Well, guess what? That's been going on for years. It's going to continue on long after we're all dead, and our great-grandchildren will be dealing with the same situation. But so long as we understand these weapons that we have pointed at each other are a disaster, they are a threat to the human species and to the next generation. I would say to anyone, no matter how you feel about the bombing of Hiroshima, go visit it, and it will change your mind and realize that we can't afford to have these weapons anymore. It's too much of a risk. There's too much ego, too much pride, too many war profiteers that want to make war happen. One big mistake, one error, and then that's it. And just looking at the children, just hearing the stories of the kids, and you're seeing their images, their faces. I was thinking like, well, these could be just American kids. You're hearing about how. Just one example, there's some of the drawings where there were students from a high school that were just jumping into the river just to cool off, but that whole river that I was standing above was clogged with the dead. And then they go to the next story of how the first responders were just pulling the bodies out of the river, and most of them were young children. Their clothes were off, their skin was melting off. I mean, these are kids. Some 14-year-old high schooler just planned with the emperor and the Japanese military to bomb Pearl Harbor? No, this is just an average powerless 14-year-old kid. Did a baby come up with his plan to start World War II? No. The first victims of war are civilians, women, children, old and young. And we, as people, have to hold our governments accountable. We have to avoid the ideas of corporatism, fascism, imperialism from taking over. We have to make sure we have true direct democracy and real involvement. We're all the same. And I was just thinking, well, gee, who was the Daniel Lupker in Hiroshima? Who was the Kira Elliott in Hiroshima? Who was the Paul DuPont in Hiroshima? Who was the Kit Cabello in Hiroshima when that bomb dropped off? I don't know. But did any of those people deserve to be vaporized? Absolutely not. No. And no one deserves to be vaporized now. And we got to get rid of them, plain and simple.
Yeah, they serve no purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But let's hear some. But there is hope, though. There's so much more that's happening in Japan too, because there's wonderful culture. There's outstanding food. In fact, I went a night out to get some okonomiyaki, which was really good. Japanese whiskey is incredible. In fact, I found a liquor museum in Kyoto. Great spot. This dude who owned it, it's only 2 months old, and he's just an old guy. So I just decided to start my own liquor museum. And interesting thing about Japanese whiskey, it's starting to disappear. So one bottle that I killed off, it's like 12 years old. It's like one of a kind. So it's like, hey, you're drinking a one of a kind whiskey.
You heard it here first. Kit's drinking all the Japanese whiskey.
That's right.
I actually got a small bottle of sake that I bought. It's in my room right now. Bring it back to the States. So the next presidential debate that we're watching.
Ooh, sake is one of my very favorite drinks. What kind of sake did you get?
I don't know. I just asked the guy, hey, what's a good one?
It's a good one. So
it's probably a Junmai because those are the most popular. But if you got a Nagori sake, I would I'll drink whatever.
Sake.
Sake, okay. But yeah.
No, I know that there's one question all of us have not wanted to say, but I know it's on the tip of everyone's tongue, both us. I've seen it. I think Nut Chat is just nonstop asking it. Have you interacted with the Kit Kats?
Yes. Now, some of the Kit Kats I can't eat because nut allergy, but there's Kit Kat seaweed. There's Kit Kat cake. There's Kit Kat strawberry. There's Kit Kat caramel. There's Kit Kat coconut. There's Kit Kat. Oh God!
There's got to be a coffee flavored Kit Kat.
So are we talking
Yes,
Kit Kat
yes.
like the chocolate bar brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've got like hundreds of kinds of Kit Kats in
Really?
You don't understand. There are thousands of flavors. To which I got to say to the Kit Kat company, to the Hershey company here in America, how come us Americans can't have that good stuff? You're giving it overseas. We want it here now.
We will demonstrate there is a market for flavored Kit Kat bars here in Chicago. Not the rest of America. Sorry, guys. Just here.
Yeah, Chicago. Favoritism towards Chicago. Yes, Harlan's media is biased. We're going to support Chicago first and foremost. But no, it was, I was like, look, wow, Kit Kat coffee. There's Kit Kat hazelnut, which I can't eat, which will kill me.
All right, you have a nut allergy to all nuts?
Yeah, tree nuts, walnuts. Oh, great. Now I'm telling everyone my weakness.
So it's tree nuts, walnuts, and ceiling nuts as well. So.
Yeah.
Peanuts are okay. They're legumes.
Yeah, so, peanuts are good.
So what? Okay, so let me ask this because I know obviously Japan is a global country. What things that exist in Chicago exist in Japan but are different?
Good question. Well, of course, I mentioned the public transportation. I mean, here's the thing. Their trains are always on time, like on time. But do not do the Chicago method of holding the door open because say goodbye to your foot, say goodbye to your hand, because this system doesn't give a fuck. It's going to continue on like clear clockwork. Hey, did you like that hand? Too bad. It's sort of like with the Imperium of Man. You put your hand in one of the cog machines, hey, get ready to chop it off because that machine's worth more than you. So, like, don't make that risk.
Right.
There's, obviously, we mentioned the Kit Kats there. I think in regards towards... wow, hang on.
There's McDonald's and things like that.
Yeah, tell me about what is
he
the
actually
fast
did a
food
video
like?
on Starbucks that was actually already on Patreon. If you're a patron, you can already go see that.
Okay, because I'm trying to think of anything that's exclusively Chicago. I'm just trying to think of
just America.
Just America. Just America.
Just America in general.
America.
Well, driving a car is a real privilege in this country because parking is limited, and you gotta, if you don't pay your insurance, say goodbye to that privilege of driving your car for a year. And they are very strict on that. Of course, with manners and everything else, like, senior citizens have the first right, and pregnant women have first right to really sit down in transportation.
As it should be.
Yeah, as it should be, but it's like really mandatory you do that. Don't talk on the train. Like, people don't talk.
Don't talk to strangers or don't talk to each other?
Like it's quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Now, granted, there's a lot of conversations, but it's like, shh. It's like, no. Like, that's about it. And there's like a lot of products have cute anime figures on it. And there's smiley faces.
They love their mascots.
Yeah, the mascot things are really huge. I was actually at Costco too.
Kids just doing all kinds of impulse buying.
Well, no, not all the time. But I understand. I was at a and I'll get to the Starbucks too. But I was at a Costco too, and so there's like a double. There's like parking on there's 2-layer parking above, and then getting inside the Costco, you have to take a sliding escalator down, and you put your card on it. It just stays magnetized there or hooked there, and then just go on in there. And they got free samples. They have sushi. Like it's way different because I used to work at Costco, and just how it's there is like everyone's politely lining up. It's not an organized cluster. Like they're all like lining up just to get a free sample. It's interesting. I've actually had some sushi here too, and it's delicious. So there.
Yeah, I hear that the Japanese culture is much more considerate of other people, of each other. Even my business partner who did some coursework in Japan said that they'll even fold up the end of the toilet paper for the next person.
Very considerate.
first, like the toilets in Japan, like it's like the Starship Enterprise. Yeah, like they got heat warmers on there, and they got buttons to clean your butt.
Do they have those little bidet things?
Yeah, they all have it. Like
amazing.
even like
yes, they do.
People's houses. Like this is ubiquitous.
The truck stop at Sap Brothers has bidets in their bathrooms. And on that note, I'm gonna get going because I have a class to teach in 90 seconds. So,
oh no. Well, Kira, if you get a chance,
it's remote, so I'm just gonna go in the other room and do that.
Right.
All right. Well, if you do get a chance, check out the Starbucks refinery. I'm actually going to get to that. This place was incredible. Like they had 3 different levels of coffee to buy in, but you have to get a registered ticket just to go in there.
You know how I love coffee.
No, Kira, it's all the coffee, all the tea. All the tea in China, okay?
Or in Japan, I guess.
All right. Yeah, or that. All right, you guys. I will see you.
You got your entrepreneurial work to do?
Yes, I have my work to do.
We will continue with this conversation.
It's cut out for me, guys. All right.
Absolutely. I'll let you get to the Starbucks. Yeah,
I want to hear more about this.
Okay, so this was in Tokyo. I think it was right after I got some Shurikan pizza. And the place where I was at, this guy was really impressed with pizza from Italy and the United States, and he wanted to make his own gourmet pizza. And he's got 2 different types. There's marinara and margarita. And right after visiting that place, we went to a Starbucks refinery, and I was like, well, like an exclusive area for Starbucks. And I noticed like, oh wait, you have to get tickets just to go in there and wait at least an hour and a half to get inside. Oh, hello?
Yep,
you got there. Yeah,
an hour and a half wait, huh?
Yeah, an hour and a half wait, but it's worth it. I mean, they got like really good bread in there, really good bakery. I went to the 3rd floor, and that's where they had the alcohol infused coffee drinks. Like I had a cold brew whiskey coffee with like one of those big thick ice cubes that we put in there.
Now I want to talk about this pizza real quick. This sounds like Naples style Italian wood fired pizza. Okay.
Yes. Organic. Completely great, the freshest materials ever. It's called Shurikan Pizza. Looking for it, it was actually hidden, or it looks like it was hidden. The inside of the building has a steampunk design, and the owner of it is a huge fan of the Beatles. So you're hearing all their songs being played in that area. So yeah, in fact, I think it's like the 2nd vlog that I made. I'm trying to go up that spiral staircase while filming.
Oh,
not the safest thing to do. Yeah. Not the safest thing to do. I wouldn't recommend it. But
all our Patreons know exactly what you're talking about.
Be a Patreon supporter. In fact, the next video will be like we were talking about earlier, the Hiroshima video. That's gonna be. I'm almost done making the script for that one, and then it'll be up for all our Patreon supporters.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
So on that note, I have another question. How has it been not doing Hardlands? Because, for everyone that is just like, oh, Kit, the 10% of people that are just meeting Kit, we started this 3 years ago, and we've basically been working without any vacation or break for basically like 1,000 days straight. Like every now and then, I got 2 days off. I got, 3 days off. But how has it been being able to just kind of calm down and not have to go on the grind?
On the one side, look, I've been planning this vacation since 2018. So to be clear on this, and you're gonna laugh at this too. I was worried about going on vacation because we've put a lot into this, and only now recently, since October, because of you guys, our Patreon supporters, our subscribers, people who donate to us on Super Chat, only since October has this channel really exploded. So for about 2.5 years, going on 2 years. 2.5, either or. This channel has been flatline. Like it's been very slow growth. There was a lot of people saying that, hey, what are you doing? Stop it. Good luck to you. Or, hey, I like what you do. It looks like you got a really good hobby. And, I love Hardlands Media. I love what we have done and the amount of growth that we've had. We have our own studio now. And I'm zooming in, talking to you guys, overseas from Japan. It's been relaxing, and it's something that's a foreign concept, I think, just to really kind of, unplug and relax a little. And I kept asking, like, Daniel, are you going to be okay? And you were like, dude, just go on vacation. Just go. Stop asking.
We got
Let's
this.
go. And even like on the last day when I was talking to my grandpa, like, hey, are you gonna be okay? Do you need anything? And he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna be fine. And I said, are you sure? He says, yeah, because you're gonna stop asking me if I'm gonna be okay. So it's like, okay, all right, I get the picture. And it's nice to be away, but at the same time, there's that. Man, I wish I was there. Because hold on, I got a joke for you guys. I leave the States in 1 week, and World War III almost happens, Paul and Daniel. What the hell?
But no, it's for the bigger joke within all that is that when Kit was leaving, we were like, don't worry, Kit. It's January. Nothing's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's going to be a slow one.
It's going to be calm. No big changes.
No big change. Nothing.
So there's this Soleimani thing. Let's talk about that.
World War III, Soleimani assassination, the 7th presidential debate, Warren saying that Sanders is a sexist, Tulsi Gabbard is gaining momentum in her campaign run. The New York Times picks not one, but 2 candidates that aren't front runners.
So being in Japan has not diminished Kit's obsession with American news, apparently.
No, it hasn't. But
stayed abreast with all the movings and goings.
He must have watched Hardlands Media. I hear they're really good at keeping people abreast.
Yeah, keeping people
I
informed.
don't know if you guys heard of them. Yeah, there's these guys, Paul and Daniel. They occasionally have Kira or Lainey hosting, sitting in the captain's chair, and they got this other guy, John, also known as DCK Punk, who comes in on the show here and there. But they keep talking about this guy named Kit. Never heard of him, so whatever.
So you're saying, Kit, we're really big in Japan. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably can't walk a block without someone wanting a picture with him.
We're going on tour, guys.
Yeah, we're international world tour. In fact, there's a lot of people I've been talking to, saying like, hey, look, I have a YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about you guys when I get back to the States. So next time Hardlands Media goes abroad, we're going to these places. And hey, I talked about you guys. Here's my crew. Boom, let's make it happen. No, but I think going on to this, it's wonderful to be on a break like this, and I won't be back till after February 1st, so 5 weeks away from Hardlands Media almost, and it's great to be on vacation. It's wonderful to do it, and occasionally I put in some work here and there. I'm going at my own pace, but I do miss the action of it. But everything comes to an end. I think this vacation has been very therapeutic for me, very relaxing for myself. But then, hey, everything comes to an end. Get back to work because, there's a lot of stuff that we're working on. I know, Daniel, you were hinting at it, Paul. We know about this too, that in February there's going to be some more changes. We're making Hardlands Media happen. And look, I'm going to be real with you guys. Paul's our first employee. We want this is our main guy right here. And I know I'm speaking for myself and Daniel. We want this to be our livelihood too and earn an income. But the priority is the studio, making sure we are able to take care of Paul. And then comes myself and Daniel. And you guys are making this dream of ours happen. But the main goal is to bring in responsible journalism, real journalism to cover stories that corporate media will not cover. And we're going to be there in the convention in Milwaukee. I'm coming back, and it's wonderful to be on break, but all breaks end. It's time to get back to work.
Milwaukee's
and I'm looking forward to
riot.
it.
Yeah. Speaking of work, you actually wanted to talk about a story today.
Oh, yes. So everyone, I feel rusty. But here's something that's happening. So as we all know, the New York Times did not one, but 2 endorsements of 2 candidates that are basically, falling behind the race, and that's Senator Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar. And look, I'm just going to have my commentary on what Warren has stated about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is not a sexist, and I really doubt he would ever say that a woman cannot become president. I extremely doubt that he would say that. And probably what was misinterpreted was that, well, if she's a corporatist, if she's going to be working with the top 1%, or she's not going to be truly invested into bringing much needed political change, then said candidate, whether a man or woman, if they're going to be a corporate sellout, no matter what political party they're affiliated with, then they will lose. Because we saw that with Clinton. She could have easily defeated Trump. All right? And I'm not a Clinton fan at all, but she could have done it. But she didn't. She was running a campaign like the 1990s. That's not going to fly. So with Bernie, being smeared like that and corporate media jumping on it, Warren basically shot herself in the foot. She ruined her own campaign. And the very fact you see the New York Times endorse not only her, but then Amy Klobuchar, strong 4%, great. What's their message? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to bring in change? Because if they're not, voters won't flock to them. I'm sorry to say that. Now, here are some strong women who can be real political leaders and actually can win the presidency. Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard, AOC, Rashid Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, all right? These are strong women that have what it takes to actually continue and build a political momentum and revolution and actually become presidents. All 5 of them have what it takes, and that is a solid fact. But corporate media keeps on trying to blame Bernie Sanders as this sexist and somebody who's misogynist, when in fact, really, here's what's trending on Twitter right now. I endorse Bernie trends as Bernie Sanders supporters slammed the New York editorial board for their top 4 snub. I mean, the New York Times is still ignoring Bernie Sanders and his momentum, even though quite a while ago on this show, it was said, like, you guys covered a piece on the New York Times where it's saying, like, hey, we got to start taking Bernie Sanders more seriously. Yet no one is. And in fact, it's all hypocrisy from corporate media. They're just trying to say some things, but at the end of the day, they only want to protect the establishment. Whereas, okay, great, but say that to the people on social media who are leaving traditional media, going to independent media, not tuning into cable TV, and saying, like, no, Bernie Sanders is our candidate. And that's a solid fact.
So I think we do gotta wind this down because we have our show coming up next. And what I'll ask you, Kit, is where can people find you? Do you have a YouTube channel that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, there's this great channel. You never heard. Get this. They're called Hard Lens Media. They're on YouTube. HardLensMedia.com. Go to their website. They're on YouTube. Hard Lens Media. HardLensMedia. They're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They have a Patreon page. I mean, they're growing. They got exclusive content. They got their own studio, a solid team. These guys are incredible. They're fantastic. Now, there's this guy who's overseas. I don't know. His name's Kit, but whatever. Whatever. I don't know if they're the same as us, but they are awesome.
So, by the way, I want to just remind people, is you do have a huge amount of fans. And if you saw earlier, there's a lot of people that I see when I'm editing videos and I'm reading comments, and they're just like, again, you guys are fantastic. You're professional. You know what you're doing. You really have a good idea and a grasp on the issues. But when's Kit coming back? When can people expect you back on camera?
All right, so February 1st, I'll be flying back in. So February 2nd, Sunday. So Monday, I'll probably be a little bit jet lagged, but I'll be back on the show. So I believe that's February 3rd. Time travel here from Japan to the United States.
Yeah, you're in the future.
Timely. Yeah,
Why did you warn us about 9/11?
Really, bro? hey, but here's the crazy thing. It's like using the essence of the warp. So I have my friend Magnus Red. He's gonna help me get to the States much faster. He's a really good guy once you get to really know him and hear his side of the story. He's blamed for destroying the Golden Throne, but that's not his fault.
Sounds like a Warhammer reference.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is, Paul. Yes, it is. But look, I miss you guys. I'm really proud of the team. But as a final note, to our YouTube subscribers, to our Patreon supporters, you've been making this channel grow. And I really miss the studio, miss the team, miss Chicago. I'm going to enjoy my last few weeks in Japan. I'm going to climb up Mount Takao and actually see some sumo wrestling. So I'm going to do what I can. And then for our Patreon supporters, more exclusive content will be uploaded very shortly. I just need some time just to tuning out some few elements here and there, but they should be fun to watch. Also very knowledgeable. The Hiroshima one, viewer discretion is advised, but nonetheless, I miss you guys, and Hard Lens Media for the win.
Well, Kit, why don't you sign us out
before you just remind people, if you haven't gone to our Patreon yet and you're like, I need a reason to sign up, Kit's vlogs are like, when I was like, hey, Kit, make some vlogs, I was like, he's going to make a vlog. They're actually better than my vlogs. So
they're good.
Go check them out.
They're really entertaining.
Yeah. Guys, really proud of you. This is Kit with Hard Lens Media. I want to give a shout out to Paul DuPont, Daniel Lucker, and the wonderful, the incredibly outstanding Kira Elliott, who was sitting in the captain chair, captaining the show. Tune in every Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to watch Hard Lens Media. This is Kit. Peace, everyone, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.